he lost his entire year's profit at that time. I want traders to make money, and more importantly, I don't want them to lose my money. You need to do something for 10,000 hours to become an expert. It is very, very true. We have daily competitions. So you put up $1 and it's a $100 guaranteed prize pool. There's a reason why every Fortune 500 company in the world uses gamification and quizzes to go and educate people. Everything that I learned at the professional prop firm, they first and foremost talked about.
Today on The Trading Battle, we're joined by someone who's walked the walk on both sides of the industry, from the prop trading floors of Chicago to the cutting edge of fintech innovation. Trent Hoerr has spent more than 15 years navigating the markets, launching successful companies, and sharing his insights through leadership pieces in Forbes and trading publications. Now, as the founder and CEO of BullRush, he's blending the world of trading, fantasy sports, and gamification into a unique competition platform that's capturing global attention. Trent, I know you so well, and actually kind of nice to reverse the roles because you've interviewed me several times. So now I get to interview you, grill you.
Nice. I like it. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, listen, I mean, you know, for such a young person, you have a hell of a lot of experience. So give the viewers an idea of how it all started, what age you were, that kind of thing.
It's funny. I don't feel young anymore. I was joking with my wife over the weekend. I'm starting to get a lot of white hairs these days, whether it's in my beard gets white or my actual hair. So the Rogaine is going to start coming out here shortly.
It's a distinguished look. Don't worry.
So yeah, no, thanks for that question. You know, I went to university like everybody else, and then back when I was trading, the prop firm that ended up hiring me specifically hired athletes. And my background was as a professional runner for a year, and I went in and traded for one of the largest prop trading firms in Chicago at the time. In 2007, they were rated the #1 prop trading group by the CME Group, and I went there as a rookie as primarily a point and click trader. I did that for a number of years, about 3.5 years of full-time day trading. Jason, you've done this for a long time. You know, day trading is a rough way to make a living, and it can be very, draining at certain times. And so I ended up pivoting and going to the back office where I headed institutional sales for a very large FX brokerage firm that was regulated out of Australia at the time. And then I worked for another FX brokerage firm that was also regulated out of Australia, but I did their head of operations. And so I managed a lot of liquidity relationships, did all the connections to the MT4, MT5 platform, helped build a CRM system when I was there. And ultimately, that knowledge brought us to founding what is FPFX Tech, which is the largest CRM provider to the retail prop trading space. I had two partners on that business, and we went and built out the end-to-end automation that ultimately eliminates a lot of the middle office wear. And so FPFX Tech was the largest tech provider, is the largest tech provider, and was the first ever. I did that for a number of years, but one of the pieces of technology that I built out while I was there was trading competition software that we leased to brokers. 8cap is a broker that utilized that, and I think they still utilize that trading competition software to run theirs. And all these brokers do it as a lead generation. So it's a free entry, and they give it away. They give prizes away to the winners. And so you see a lot of brokers doing it. You see a lot of prop trading firms doing it. It's a really good lead engagement tool. But back in 2021, I had the idea of why couldn't you do a paid entry competition similar to a poker tournament? People pay a $5 or $10 entry. That makes up the prize pool. And then the best traders go and it actually win cash prizes versus just give away a prop challenge accounts or brokerage accounts. And so I started working on this in 2021, which is what now is BullRush.
Your idea right from the start. That's interesting. Obviously developed from what you'd already done in the industry.
Yeah, everything's always that way. Whether it's trading or career, as everything builds upon itself. Trading is the same way. When you start trading, you start, you read a couple books, and then that gives you a little bit of experience to go maybe trade in a demo account. That gives you a little bit of experience to go trade the live account. And then you just keep moving and progressing from there. And so, ultimately, whether it's business or trading, everything builds upon itself through your life experiences and the knowledge you learn along the way.
Yeah, you mentioned demo account. It feels like you're kind of one step ahead of the demo account because so many people, you're supposed to trade a demo account when you start trading, and that's how you're supposed to learn and develop a strategy and everything else. But I mean, who takes it seriously? Everybody knows it's not real money. You just can't. So it's almost like if you go straight to BullRush, you're going to get a taste of real money. You're going to get the emotions of the real money, but you're not going to be putting, huge amounts of real money at risk. You're just going to get the same experience.
I'm curious, did you ever trade on a demo account when you started trading?
No, I mean, mate, I traded. I started trading in the Stone Age, so we, we didn't have demo accounts. We called it paper trading in those days in the late 80s. So you would stand on the side of the pit and you'd watch the markets and you'd sort of put a trade on the piece of paper and pretend that you'd done it and then see how it would go. And you'd watch what was going on in the pit, what the brokers were doing, what the traders were doing.
So when I started, we only demo traded for like a week or 2 weeks. They only put you on it to learn the platform specifically because they
So how
wanted
to execute an order, not actually how to build a strategy.
Exactly. It was just like, hey, get familiar with how this platform actually works. And it goes back to what you just said. It's because people don't take it seriously. If there's nothing on the line, you didn't put money up, you don't have a reward for it, you're going to start building and formulating really bad habits. And so that's something, to your point with BullRush, we run a lot of $1 competitions. We do 99-cent daily competitions. It's even with $1 and you're only putting up $1.
Sorry to interrupt you. How does it work? I go to BullRush. I want to play with a couple of dollars today. What kind of competitions can I enter?
Yeah. So on the trading side specifically, we have daily competitions that are $1 and it's $100 prize. So you put up $1 and it's $100 guaranteed prize pool. We do some other fun ones like our profit sprint competition. It's a race who can make 5% the fastest. So it's, everybody starts on an equal playing field. Everybody's competing to try to make 5%. Whoever gets there in the lowest amount of time is deemed the winner. We do weekend crypto competitions. So we do a lot of variables like that. A lot of it does focus around the day trading / swing trading side of things, like our weekly competitions, to really hone the skills. And to your point, again, going back and bringing it full circle, is by putting a little bit of money up and having a real reward, you're more likely to take it seriously versus just swinging for the fences and throwing all your risk management out the window. It helps you formulate that strategy a little bit better. So that ultimately, when you do go and, either trade a prop challenge or you go open up your self-directed account with a brokerage firm, you have, core principles that you're sticking with from a risk management perspective.
Okay. So is that where you see BullRush in the market? The gap between, filling in the gap between a demo account and a prop account, or trading your own account, somewhere where you can hone your skills without risking a huge amount of money, have some fun, but learn in the process.
That's exactly. You hit the nail on the head. We did launch the first ever A-book prop firm off the back end of our BullRush competitions. So we are the only retail A-book prop firm in the world that shows verifiable proof that we actually do A-book traders and send the trades to market when they reach level 4. And it's exactly that. We take our trading competition software and those competitions to, yes, win some money, but more to hone your skills. And then when you hone your skills, progress you and move you over to an A-book prop challenge where you're trading real money in the real markets.
So, okay. So you're offering an early stage entry into the prop challenge, which you also provide. And for anyone that doesn't understand what A-book means?
Yeah, so it means you're actually trading the real market. So in FX terminology, you have A-book or B-book. B-book means when you place a trade, typically it's either the prop firm or it's the broker they're the counterparty to that trade. They're taking the other side of it. When you're A-booking something, when you place a trade, it's going to a neutral third party to go and execute that trade on behalf of the broker or the prop firm. And so in this industry, for those that don't know what prop is or have been around, that every single retail prop firm out there is booking your trades. They take the other side. It's effectively, I call it the prop firm casino. It's the closest thing that I like to call it. And so we thought there was, I never really wanted to launch a prop firm again after leaving that side of the space. I left the prop industry because of the direction it was headed. And one of those directions was because everybody was booking the trades, it put a lot of firms in a compromised situation, whether it's delaying or rejecting payouts. And so initially when we launched BullRush, it was only trading competitions, but I kept getting the confusion of, why are you not a prop firm? Are you a prop firm? Why don't you launch a prop firm? And again, I never wanted to do it in a way that would put me at a compromised or jeopardize, what we've built, where we're not taking the other side of trades. We're just a tech provider. We're giving people the opportunity. And so that took a lot of time to formulate, in order to do the A book model. As a principle, A booking traders in the prop world is a lot different than the brokerage world, because in the brokerage world, it's not your capital. So when a trader funds at 8 cap, for example, as the broker, they get $1,000, let's say. And now if they want to hedge out that exposure, they just go and STP those trades. And if the client loses, it's the $1,000 of the client. In the prop world, if I fund you with $1,000 trading account, that's my capital now as the prop firm. It's not the end client. So if I hedge out your exposure, and you lose 1,000, you just lost my $1,000. And so the risk management is a lot more complicated, in my opinion, on the prop side of the industry. And so it took a lot of time to formulate some basic rules that allowed us to comfortably, start A booking, or STPing is another common terminology, traders, but also not having overly complicated rules.
Okay, so you actually want traders to make money.
I want traders to make money, and more importantly, I don't want them to lose my money.
Yeah, and
That's the most important part. Is it's more than making money. It's don't lose my money. Take a risk, adverse approach first. Like, everything is about risk management. When I was trading, we had daily drawdowns, and they would kick you out for the day, and you'd come back the next day. And like, everything that I learned at the professional prop firm, they first and foremost talked about risk management. They didn't talk about profits. They're like, risk management. Was that the same for you?
Yeah, actually, I was going to come onto that subject because, you and I were probably, well, we were the original prop traders. On the trading floor in the 90s, yeah, you could get financed. I mean, often you were financed by another. If you traded your own account on the live floor, you were called a local. That was just a term, as you're probably aware. And then you could put your own money up, or someone might say, hey, I think you're a good trader, I'll give you 20 grand. And, basically, like you've said, don't lose my money. Of course, that was a stipulation. Just don't lose my money. If you don't make money, okay, never mind, but just don't lose anything. And so, yeah, risk management was absolutely key. And then when the floor shut and trading went digital, we all moved up to the office. Prop firms, I guess that was the birth of prop firms, really, because you could go in and you could say, hey, I've got 5 grand. Can I trade here? Yeah, sure. You put up 5, we'll put up 25. And there was very strict risk management and everything that you've just said. And, if you were having a drawdown day, you'd get a tap on the shoulder. The risk manager would physically come up to you and go, hey, and he would, he'd pull you off the desk if you didn't take your fingers off the buttons.
Yeah. Oh, I watched that happen. I was telling this story to somebody the other day. We, at the prop firm I had, we had it called Rookie Row. And so there's 4 of us that sat next to each other, and then the class above us sat behind us. So imagine, like, right behind me, there's traders here. And they got taught how to do a martingale strategy and mean revert on heating oil, gas oil. So they built a synthetic spread on the TT Trading Technologies, the platform. They did a synthetic spread against heating oil, gas oil, and they'd mean revert it. So when it'd start hitting against standard deviations, they would start going the opposite direction to try to mean revert back, or revert back to the mean. And I forget what came out. I think it was something out of Dubai or something. And all of a sudden this thing started blowing out, and the trader put on, 5 lots. And then you hear, oh man, I just lost my day. And then he doubled down. He put on 10 lots. And he goes, oh man, I just lost my week. Then he doubled down. He put on 20 lots. Oh damn, I just lost my month. And then he doubled down, put on 40 lots. And goes, oh, I lost my year. And so the technology back then wouldn't auto liquidate you. It just would prevent you from putting on more trades. And so he was staying in this position with 40 lots on, and he had lost, this is like September timeframe, he'd lost his entire year's profit at that time.
So nothing else to lose. You might as well just hold the position.
He was holding it, and there's still a risk manager that was sitting in his office, and all of a sudden, the guy, I don't want to say his name, but all of a sudden you hear him go, what happened to my positions? Where'd it go? I don't see it. And the risk manager liquidated his positions manually and turned off his computer. And then you just hear him from the office just scream, get your ass in here now. Just yelled as loud as he could. And he was in there for about 10 minutes, and then they walked him out. He was fired on the spot because he did not have risk management principles.
Yeah. I know plenty of stories like that.
It was wild. It was like my third week in the office. And I go, wait, what? And so ever since then, it's always risk management first.
Yeah, well, the digital market has come a long way since then. I remember stories from the trading floor where you'd be in a bar and someone would go, "Oh man, I did this, that, and the other, and then the bund moved, blah blah blah," and I just kept the ticket in my pocket. I didn't give it to my clerk. I just stood there and waited, and shit, it bounced, and I got it all back, and I'm 20 grand up, because in those days it was on a card, and unless you gave someone the card, they didn't know you'd done the trade until maybe after the market shut, and they'd be like, "Hey, you got an out trade." So I'm sure a lot of people did that. They just kept cards in their pockets and hoped it went back. But yeah, of course, in those days, you'd be like, "Hey, where was that guy from 3 days ago? We never saw him again." "Oh yeah, he blew out."
I wish I got to trade in the pits. I think that would have been a really good. I almost had the opportunity, but I was the first class at the prop firm not to go and trade in the pits. They moved everything digital. This is beginning of 2009. They moved everything digital, and they didn't put you in the pits. And then I almost had an opportunity in 2012 to go be a clerk for a cattle trader. He was going to let me go sit and clerk for him down there. But it was one of those things I just wish I got to do because it sounded awesome. The stories that people have from back in the day of being able to be in the pits and trading and like the shit that went down there is just incredible.
Don't get me started on the stories. Okay, let's get back to BullRush. So talk me through some of the gains or some of the challenges that you have offered for new people coming to BullRush.
Yeah. So again, a lot of the stuff that we do is this peer-to-peer multi-participant competitions. We do daily competitions, we do weekend crypto competitions, we do the race to the profit targets, like I mentioned. We also do, longer duration competitions that are multi-round. So in round one, similar to like the World Cup of Soccer, in round one, you compete against your group for like 2 weeks. The best traders from that move on to the championship round and go compete for the actual prizes. So we have that. And then in the competition platform as well is we have instant payout challenges where it's just you versus the market. And there's no concept of funded account there. It's just like, hey, can you make 10% before you lose 5% in your account? Just very basic and simplistic. And if the answer is yes, you instantly get paid and instantly get your reward. All of those, like you mentioned, is designed to ultimately progress you to trading in the real markets through our A-Book prop challenge. And we also see a lot of people go into brokerage firms these days, like ACAP. They will go over and they'll use us sort of as a proving ground, testing ground to hone their strategy, get their risk management down before going to our prop challenges or before going and open up their own self-directed account with a brokerage firm.
Okay, so the games are designed to teach you to stick to the rules, risk management, account management, trade management, and take it seriously as a trade. It's not just
Very
there to
much so.
gamble and mess about.
Yeah, we very much discourage that. One rule that we have at all of our competitions is you have to trade at least twice in every competition. So you can't just punt or YOLO on a single trade. You have to at least place 2 trades. We also have daily trivia questions. So it's not just necessarily about trading. It's also your knowledge and getting you more familiar with the overall markets. And so we do
really?
daily trivia questions where you win rewards if you get it correctly. We also do trivia competitions every Saturday. That are trading based. So you come in and you try to answer as many trivia questions correctly as possible against fellow competitors. Whoever gets the most questions correct, wins the prize at the end.
That's a great idea. So what kind of questions would you ask? Give me some of the answers so I can have a go. It sounds like fun.
Yeah, that's a good question. So like one today is like, what country impacts the USD Australian dollar the most? Like, and then you have 4 options. You have Canada, you had China, you had New Zealand, you had Singapore. So like which one of those countries has the biggest impact on, US dollar versus Australian dollar?
Whoa. China.
Yeah, there you go. You got it right.
How much did I win?
So you would have won
That's brilliant.
few. So yeah, you in that situation, you
Really
win promotional
educational.
credits that then can be used to go join our paid entry competitions.
Wow, I
but
love
it
that.
just helps you learn, about the markets more than just, trading. We also do technical pattern setups, which I know is probably your favorite.
Yeah.
Identify this pattern. We'll put a trend line on there, like, hey, is this is this a hanging man? Is this and go through all the different patterns.
This is a great idea. So, and the quizzes, you're only competing like against yourself, are you, or is it against other people?
We do both. So
Okay.
every day we have a daily trivia competition, where it's just you versus yourself to see if you can get it right. You can see everybody else if they've gotten it right or not. And then we
Oh,
every
cool.
Saturday we also do it where you're competing against other people. And then I know you and I are going to see each other at an event here coming up.
Yeah.
We will have an in-person trivia competition at that event. So make sure you participate in that when you
I'm
come.
going to enter that. That's a really good idea. I've never heard of that, and it's such a great way to train because no one wants to just sit and read stuff. So this is a real way to stimulate your mind and really understand how financial markets work through fun and quizzes. It's a brilliant idea. How much is it to enter a quiz?
Those are free. We run those free.
Oh, the
Yeah,
trivia is free.
those are 100% free to come
Oh, wow.
do whenever you want. But there's a reason why every Fortune 500 company in the world uses gamification and quizzes to go and educate people. It's not just like trading. It's like, think of any major corporation when you go through their training and scenario based stuff. It's like it's all based on the gamified experience as well as the quizzes and trivia stuff at the end. And so, we wanted to really incorporate that into BullRush because we do see it as a big value add and benefit to traders, and obviously we do some sports stuff now as well. And so also on the sports side.
Okay, so you can spend a lot of time in BullRush, having a lot of fun. When did you launch, Trent?
We launched just over a year ago. So we've been working on it since 2021. But I'm a big believer and I want to build out all the technology for the exact purpose that it provides. So when I was helping build out FPFX Tech, that software was built from the ground up specifically for prop trading firms. And you saw when I was there, a lot of like industry CRM systems that work for brokerage firms try to go compete against FPFX Tech. And it just like didn't work because they're trying to like repurpose this old technology for broker for prop, and they're just two different things. And so with BullRush, I wanted to bring that same principle over where our system is specifically designed to operate these peer-to-peer multi-participant competitions and be the gamified experience with experience points, badges, certificates. It's a whole gamified element. And so it took a while, as you can imagine, to go rebuild technology from the ground up for that use case with all the features that we have. So 2021, we started a lot of technology and development time in there. We also had a lot of regulatory and legal side of things in there as well to make sure we legally could go do this. That was an 18-month process. And then we kicked off, September of last year. And so a year in the market, and it's going really well. We have about, I think, 165,000 users that have joined a competition up until this point, with about 20 to 25% of those users active any given month.
Wow, that's huge. That's a hell of a launch you've got there. And anyone around the world pretty much can
Yep.
join.
So we're approved in 42 out of the 50 states to operate, and then internationally over 170 countries worldwide.
Wow. Okay, huge. And would you say that most people are beginner traders, or they've been doing it for a year, or is it a mix of many different experiences?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say it's a mix based on the interactions that I see. I sit down with our head of operations a lot and go over a lot of the customer service related questions that come through. And you can tell we definitely have a lot of new traders in the space that have never traded, which is awesome because it is a
Yeah,
good
that's what
segue
you
for them
want,
to
isn't it?
learn. Um,
Yeah, the great
but
tool.
we also have a lot of the experienced traders that learned, wait, trading is skill based. It is a skill based thing. And I can come join these competitions against rookie traders and I can go make money and utilize it as a money making platform for myself. And so we do see a lot of that as well. And so we have a feature built inside of BullRush that allows us to, split out competitions where you only can compete against people of your same level or your same skill based on your experience points. So like when we get professional traders in, it's like, all right, you have a lot of experience points, you go compete in an exclusive competition with other experience-based people. We have new competitions for new traders that are, hey, it's only people that are new to the markets. And then we have a mix and a blend of both of those. So it's a good mix between, new and experienced traders.
I'm also thinking, even if you are an experienced trader and maybe you don't need to learn, don't need to use BullRush so much as an educational tool, when you're sitting there and you've got a trade on and you're like waiting for 2 or 3 hours for the trade to play out, it would be a great way to direct your attention away from the trade and, do some of the games, do some of the competitions, and just have some fun and stop yourself getting sucked into trades that you shouldn't be doing, that kind of thing, because That's
The
too easy, isn't it? When you're trading, that you trade watch and it all goes horribly wrong. This would be a really good distraction.
late in my career trading, Netflix came out, and the amount of Netflix that I watched the last year I traded was insane. I went from trading, I was a volatility chaser, scalper, and so I would trade, between 20 to 30 markets any given day. And volatility back in like 2010, 11, 12 just fell off. It like, after the financial collapse, we had a lot of volatility and it just sort of stopped there for a while, with the exception of like the flash crash and things. And so mostly what we would do is just sit on our hands and not trade. And so I went from placing, 1,000 to 2,000, lots a day of trading FX terms instead of contracts, 1,000 down to like 5 to 10 trades a day, because the volatility just wasn't there. And for my style, it just never, sort of translated. And so there towards the end, I basically just watched Netflix, which was just a nice break.
Yeah. Okay. So when you run out of movies on Netflix, you can go to BullRush and have some fun. What was your favorite movie on Netflix then?
Rogue Trader. That-
I was in it.
I know. And I actually did like that movie a lot.
Yeah.
Back when I was first starting trading, I tried to consume all this information about trading. I read every book you can imagine. I watched every movie on trading. It's one of those industries that just like absorbs you, like sucks you in, and you're like, oh, this is it. And I had that same feeling, like most traders, when I first started, I just saw, I had two brothers that traded in Chicago futures, and they were making money. I'm like, I want to go make a bunch of money. But then when you actually enter it, it's like, it's more than the money. It's not about the money in the end. It's about competing and winning, and it just like sucks you in. So I wanted to learn everything I could about, the trading industry. And so every single movie, that I was watching back then was that. And Rogue Trader was very high up on my list.
Yeah. For me, it was Wall Street, because I'm a couple of decades older than you, and I loved Wall Street. Was it Michael Douglas? I think. Oh my God, that came out in the early days of my trading. I was like, green is good, and lunch is for wimps and all that. I loved it.
I still use that quote, lunch is for wimps. So we do trading movie trivia too a lot in our, like that. Those are a lot of the questions we have is trading movie trivia, and like the lunch is for wimps quote I use all the time. I still don't take lunch to this day because of that quote.
Really terrific. It's ingrained in you. And actually, your point about being obsessed with financial markets and not following the money is so right. If you're getting into trading just for the money, it ain't going to work. You have to absolutely have a passion for trading. You have to be absorbed in financial markets. That's the only way to be successful. I mean, you mentioned earlier that you were a professional runner. It's the same thing. You can't just run for you've got to absolutely adore it. I see that with my son. He's training to be a professional football player. I mean, all he does is train his body, watch his diet. It's pure discipline, morning, noon, and night. He's never even drunk a beer in his entire life, and he's 19 years old. He's so focused on it.
I was there. I can count on my hand how many times I drank at university. It applies to any industry, but it really trading industry, where the whole 10,000 hours thing is real, where you need to do something for 10,000 hours to become an expert. I think Malcolm Gladwell said that, and it is very, very true. And especially for trading, and more importantly in trading, because there is a little bit of luck that's involved. It's mostly skill based, but there's some luck. And what I see is a lot of people, when they're new, they'll get lucky. Like, crypto trading, for example. If you would have traded cryptos back in 2017 to 19, when it was just on the massive upswing, everybody was making money. You bought any shit coin you wanted, and you were going to go make money. And that's where the luck came in. But then when they now started trying to trade, it became much more difficult, because it really is hard. And so they needed to go invest the time and energy into the markets to learn, technical setups, to learn fundamentals, how those are going to impact you, to learn, other asset classes. And so there's just a lot that goes into it. And it's unfortunate. You see a lot of traders get burned out and, lose their bankroll very quickly, because they'll catch a little bit of luck. They won't, go and invest the time. They get a little overconfident, and they start, over leveraging themselves and putting on big trades before they actually understand what's going on.
Yep. Happened to me in 92. There's a story that I mentioned in almost every podcast, how, I had a big win in 92. That's it. I thought I was the trading god, and I was just going to be making 7 figures every year. And I think I made nothing for like 2 or 3 years. I was just swinging the bat,
my wake up call was I found this strategy that worked really well in cotton back in the day. So when cotton kept going limit up, I learned that I could go limit up in cotton, and then I could go, if I could get limit up with it, I could go to the back month and I could go short, and then I'm just trading the exchange traded cow spread. And so I was making a lot of money doing that, back in the day. And so I started getting, it was sort of lucky that I came across this, and I started getting overconfident, didn't really understand the cotton market at all. I didn't do my 10,000 hours in the cotton market. And my bad day was, or almost bad day, I luckily got out of it, was I was limit up with like 20 contracts of cotton. And something happened where it went from limit up to limit down without trading. I didn't know the market because I didn't do research. And now I'm limit down. And this is like
Wow.
6:30 in the morning. And I'm sitting
Oh,
there all day, limit down, limit down, limit down. And I'm flashing down, at my time, my limit was like $5,000 in the day. And I was down like 150 grand. And I like
holy
on P&L on the screen, I'm like trying to do the math and like
jeez.
back out
You
how
must
you
have
get
been
out of this trade.
sweating.
Oh my gosh, I was freaking out. And I'm just sitting there, and there's nothing I can do except to go trade out to do the inverse of what I was doing to get out of it. So like the same way I was getting into the market and make all this money, I had to go and do the inverse. So I had to flip my position and go short with the market, and then go to the exchange traded spreads and get out. And I'm just sitting there sweating, sweating, sweating. And, cotton, I think, closed at 1:15 Central Time at the time. And it came to like 114, and this thing popped off like 200 ticks. And I just traded out of it and broke. I think I either broke even or lost a little bit of money. But I learned my lesson so hard of understand what you're doing. Don't jump in head first into the market without actually understanding how things operate, because I didn't really know how limits work. I didn't really know how illiquid cotton could be, because I'd never really traded it, with the exception of those couple of months where I was only doing this one strategy. And so, I over leveraged, and I almost took a $150,000 digger that would have just crippled me, personally and
Wow.
financially.
That's a good story. That was so lucky.
It was definitely lucky. It was like, I don't know what happened to get it to pop off there in the last like minute of the trading day, but like I had everything queued up, ready to click out of the trade. And luckily I didn't have to do that. I just like clicked out, and I forget, it was like a nominal amount. I think I lost like $500,000 on the day, but like staring $150,000 loser in the face and like trying to explain that to the risk manager and explain, what you're going to do. Like, I was sweating. I sat there all day with my cheeks were puckered, as they say.
Yeah, I'm sure you had to change your underwear a couple of times. I think until you've actually been in that situation, and I've been in that situation a few times, you really don't know how it feels. You're panicking, you're overwhelmed, you can't think straight. I mean, I'd be in the trading pit. Now, I remember a time, it was early 90s again, there was an election in the UK, and I think the Conservatives won when the Labour Party was expected to win. There was a massive reaction in the market. I've got in early because the market was going to kick off, and I didn't. And then my clerks come to me just before the market opens and goes, "Oh, hey, you got an out trade last night. We've just found it." And I'm like, "What?" And an out trade in that situation either means you're up six figures or you're down six figures. And you're never up, are you? You're just always down on an out trade. I don't know, I was like 22, 23 or something. And I was down 100 grand at 6:55 a.m. I'm like, 100 grand is a lot of money now, but imagine what it was like 30 years ago. I was like, and I was just pouring with sweat. And the thing is, in the trading pit, you've got to look like you're not in a panic, because everyone's reading your face. And if they can exploit you and make that a 200 grand loss, they're going to do it. And it was a horrible, horrible situation. I'll never forget it.
I watched that with my brother when he was electronic trading. For some reason, he was long silver when it went from like $19 to $50 back in 2011 or 12. And that position, for some reason, fell off his daily statements. And so the brokerage firm that we were clearing through was not showing him that he had these contracts long in silver. And then, if you remember, it went up to $50 and like straight down to like $20. And it was the same thing. Like 2 weeks later, they're like, "Oh, we found these silver contracts on your statement." And they were down like, I forget how much. I don't think it was quite 100,000, but it was a lot of money. And he was just fighting with the clearinghouse to try to get it, settled. But it was like unbelievable, because it was their fault. It wasn't on the trading statements, and he had no idea about this out trade that he had.
And the clearinghouse never gives in. They'll be like, "No, you should
Yeah.
have known your position. We're not taking responsibility for that." I remember fighting with the clearinghouse as well. Oh, you're bringing all the memories back. Okay, let's talk about the prop trading before we wrap it up. I'm in BullRush. I'm doing well on the competitions, on the quizzes. Not called quizzes, are they? What did you call them?
Yeah, I mean they're trivia. I call them trivia
Trivia.
competitions, quizzes, trivia
Yeah,
competitions. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
And then I'm ready. I'm feeling confident. I'm ready to step up to the prop challenge. As you already mentioned, it's serious stuff because you're trading in a book. You're trading real money now. And how's that going? Are people doing well? Are people taking it seriously? Are they sticking to the rules? Because they say 90% of traders fail. Is it true?
that's definitely true. I think it's more than that. I think it's about 95% of traders fail. And so, yeah, we designed, when we were thinking about the BullRush prop, I wanted to design a program that was not conflicted with our traders. I wanted to be conflict free and be on the side of traders. And so we developed a program that has simple to follow rules, but lets us know that you actually can go trade and manage our capital. And so it's 4 levels. Level 1 is a demo trading account. Level 2 is a demo trading account. Level 3 is funded. And just like any other funded account, you're not on A book yet. You're still being B booked in level 3. The biggest difference is once you hit 10% profits in that account, we then move you to level 4, which is our A book prop challenge or account. And so there, when you're level 4, 100% of your trades are going to the real market. The rules you talk about, again, risk management. One of the biggest rules we have in there is a consistency rule. I'm a firm believer in the consistency rule where somebody, if everybody can go YOLO and get lucky on a trade. Going back to the crypto example, I can go and I could have put, I don't know, $10,000 on Dogecoin back in the day and made $1 million. That doesn't mean I'm a good trader. That means I just got lucky. And so we have
You don't want the gamblers. You want
no,
the traders. You want
we
the
want real
consistent
traders.
guys. We
And
can all
so
swing the bat and get lucky, but and you're not doing anyone any favors there anyway because they're not going to make it in the long run. They're not going to be in the business in 5 months' time.
they're not going to be in the business and they're going to blow up
Yeah.
my money.
Yeah.
Is the biggest thing.
Yeah. So you're looking for serious traders.
Exactly. And so that's one of the rules that we have in there that helps us filter out whether or not somebody's a serious trader or not, or just coming to look into YOLO. On the inverse side, though, we don't really have any negative rules. Like you see a lot of prop firms these days that have like no news trading. They have daily drawdowns, maximum drawdowns. They have, you can't risk any more than 1% on your account. They have no weekend holding. They have all these rules that are unnecessary. And I don't know why they do them, but they're unnecessary in my
Well, we
opinion.
know why they do them because they want to catch you out because they don't want to pay you out.
Yeah,
They're beating you.
You said it, not
from
me.
your subscription. They don't want you to win.
Exactly. And so we don't have any of those. The only way you can lose your account as long as you trade it once every 30 days is our maximum trailing drawdown. We do have that on there, which is common. Like you come from the real prop trading industry. Like that rule is exactly how prop firms work.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to help people protect their accounts. You're not trying to catch them out. Different.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like at the prop firm I worked at, professional prop firm for a number of years, you had a daily loss limit. And the only reason why the daily loss limit was there was to basically tap you on the shoulder to tell you to go home. You didn't lose that. Where you lost and where they'd fine you or kick you out was on your maximum drawdown. You started, if you blew X amount percent, whether, the good example is what I used at the beginning, where it's like that guy lost his year, but he had made that for millions of dollars leading up to that. And he only lost, a couple $100,000. But it's that going back to the trailing drawdown, like they saw something in him that he threw risk management out the window and he lost enough of their money on a trailing basis to get that tap on the shoulder and you're done, even though they'd made millions. Because if they didn't, what happens the next time? Now that next time it could cost them millions or tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like your rules are there to educate and actually help traders preserve their account, not catch them out and say, hey, you're out of the game now.
Exactly. As long as you place the trade once every 30 days, the only way you can lose your account is through our maximum drawdown.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. That's pretty serious. So yeah, it's somewhere that people can actually build a career in trading.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're looking for. Again, we're looking for traders to come in and be consistently profitable. We don't YOLOers, gamblers, unfortunately, that is what attracts a lot of people to the prop space. That's not what we're looking for. we're looking for people to come in and take it seriously and become a professional trader. And we have things to help you every step of the way. You come in, you can join a free competition. Then the goal is you join a paid entry competition to start there. Then you can take one of the instant payout challenges. Then you take the trivia competitions or do the trivia questions, progress ultimately to our A-book funded accounts where you're trading in the real markets.
Of course, people fail prop challenges. I mean, people blow counts and lose their own money. So, we know that's going to happen. But have you found that have you got a number of traders who have just kept going and finally passed the challenge and they're now profitable through your guidance, through your rules and learning how to actually trade and not gamble?
Yep, we've definitely found those. And more importantly, we found like we have one trader, he's on like his 10th or 11th payout with us. He hasn't lost his account because once you hit our level 4, you can do as many payout requests as you want in level 4. And so they're just on demand. And he's on like his 10th or 11th one. He makes money, withdraws it, makes money, withdraws it. And so I think that's really uncommon in the space too, because a lot of prop firms go after the YOLOers where it's a 50-50 coin flip. They're basically, a lot of them just hedge out their trades. They go, full bore on this account and go the opposite direction in this account. And so they're going to have some massive payout here, but it's not consistent. And so we've seen the other side, where it's like the traders that do get to our level 4 do end up making some money. We're up on our A-book account, which is, I know most people that are into the industry would think that's shocking. We make money in our level 4 margin account.
Okay, great. So you actually genuinely have real profitable, consistently profitable traders, and that's working for you too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I know anybody from the industry listening is not going to believe that, but that's the reality. I could show you our margin account. We make money in our level 4 margin account.
Wow. Okay. That's really exciting. Right. Where do we find BullRush?
Yeah, come to bullrush.com. And then we're on all social media channels underneath BullRush Comp.
Okay. And if anyone wants to reach out to you, Trent, for some expert trading advice, how do they find you?
Yeah, you can. My emails are always open. It's just my first name, last name at bullrush.com. I'm happy to chat with anybody, schedule calls. Jason, I'm a pretty open and transparent person and always receptive to phone calls.
Yeah. We've been friends for a long time, but we even worked together. We partnered for a while, didn't we? And I must say, you were very, very professional.
Going back to the, for a very long time, I was always behind the scenes. Nobody knew who I was, but I was always helping other people behind the scenes.
Yep. Well, everyone knows who you are now. I know you're very well known and very well respected in the industry. Trent, that was so much fun. Really enjoyed that. BullRush sounds, revolutionary, really, in the trading industry. A company that actually wants people to make money.
We actually do. I know I keep saying that because it honestly surprised me too, because I know the guys at Top Step in their risk department, and they, on the future side, do a similar model, and they're down money. But our traders that make it through make money.
Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. A huge thank you to Trent for sharing his journey from the track to the trading floor and for giving us a glimpse into his visionary work at BullRush. We've gained so much insight into the future of fintech and how competition is at its core. If you enjoyed this conversation and want to stay ahead of the curve with more exclusive interviews, be sure to subscribe to The Trading Battle. Till next time, I'm Jason Sen.